Hello YouTubers. This is just a short video here in the hot Swedish spring or hot Swedish summer. We've had the hottest May in mankind, so that has affected us quite a lot, and it's still really hot weather. And we're all, well, maybe we got a bit more than we really wished for, but still. I'm going to show you some records. I don't have that many to show because I haven't been that active lately. I've been more reorganizing what I already have than getting new stuff. So, well, but here we have at least some new old stuff. Put them down like this. Just to make one thing sure, it's quite, as you can see, it's a bit of a shadow here now on my balcony, but I'm not sitting here with vinyl records when it's sunlight here. And well, I don't keep my vinyl records on the balcony, but since it is the kind of weather we have, why not make the video out here? Right. Well, first of all, I found this album, Mary Wells Ooh, with a nice drawing based on a photograph that's taken from the original issue, because this is, I think it's just called Mary Wells, the original issue from 1966, I think. This is a reissue on the Movietone records. Never heard about the Movietone records, but I realized now that they are, of course, connected to 20th Century Fox records. They are very nice. You haven't seen their label? It looks like this. Blue. And Mary Wells, well, I've got some albums with her before. She's a famous singer, and this is a quite nice album. Not that much different from her other albums. We got some really good songs like He's a Lover, Never Never Leave Me, Stop Taking Me for Granted, other stuff. Nice. And I've never seen this label or this issue before, so it was nice to find. Well, I made a video, short, a couple of months ago, when the Swedish rock legend Jerry Williams had passed away. And by then I was trying to get hold of a vinyl copy of his last album, Ghost Rider from 2015, but it was really hard to get hold of, and I think it sold, the few copies that were around were sold out when the news hit media that he had passed away. Maybe it was sold out even before, I'm not sure. But I managed to get hold of a second-hand issue here, and well, it is more or less, you know, we would say, still going strong. The same feeling that he had on all these other albums. So, and we have two nice duets also, one with Anna Ternheim and one with Elin Larsson. We got some old rock classic covers like Bad Moon Rising and Chuck Berry's song Downbound Train. Mississippi Delta by Bobby Gentry, and it has the Sonnet label. I mean, he was on Sonnet his whole life, I think, and even though Sonnet, well, is owned by Universal Music today, like most other record companies, they use here the old label that was used in the late 60s and early 70s. Great to have. Very happy I found it. I went to a store in Stockholm, Nostalgipalatset, and I bought some records. And at the counter, they had a big pile of copies of this album, still sealed, Rock Roots by Them. It's a compilation album from the 1976 on Decca. And they were all still sealed. It was like a whole lot of the same record that were unsold and unopened, and it was quite cheap, so I bought it. I haven't listened to it yet, but I will soon. and half of the material of this album is material that hadn't been issued in the UK back then. And then there's some, it's not like a best of album, it's more like a rare tracks album. Well, I've been quite fond of the singer, country singer Bobby Bare for some time, even though I'm not really a country fan. I have some particular artists in that genre that I really like, and Bobby Bare is one of them, especially for songs like, well, The Streets of Baltimore. That's always, well, for many years been a song that I, for some reason, like a lot. And I like many of the other songs that he's done during the years as well. But today, or not today, a couple of days ago, I went to this, when I went to Nostalgipalatset. I bought 4 of his albums. There were lots of albums to buy, although before I only had the Streets of Baltimore album, but I bought this, Detroit City and Other Hits by Bobby Bare, German pressing from 1963. I think it's a great album, many good songs. He had a simple way of singing his songs, without using any exaggerations, and also a good choice of songs. Like we have the songs like Book of Love, Is It Wrong for Loving You, of course a big hit, Detroit City, and many other really good songs. Not often songs with some sense of humor in them, and that is very good when we talk about country music, because the country music that takes itself too seriously is quite horrible. But Bobby Bare. One of these albums that I was particularly looking for was This Is Bear Country, and I managed to find that on Mercury from 1970. And one reason is because one of my favorite Chris Christopherson songs is on this album, Come Sundown. It's not one of his most famous songs, but I think I found out recently that it was actually Bobby Bare who had a kind of a hit with it, even if I've heard it with other singers as well. But it's not as famous like Me and Bobby McGee or Sunday Morning Coming Down and other similar songs. That is a Chris Christopherson song, right? Not sure now. I might be wrong there, so I may edit that out. No, I probably won't. Then I found this compilation album, The Best of Bobby Bare from 1966, with, well, Detroit City, All American Boy, Dear Wastebasket, many other good songs. German pressing. And also some sort of reissue from the mid-70s. Sunday Morning Coming Down. Yeah, well, we talked about that song, I have to check. Yeah, that's a Chris Christopherson song. I was right. And this is on Dynaflex. Good for fanning. Oh, lovely. And we had a whole series of reissues, cheap, probably budget reissues on RCA in the mid-70s, and the way you recognize it, because they all have the same design with this line here, and the songs, and lots of other records in the same series. Many of the Pure Gold series were on this as well. Okay, let's leave Bobby Bare. One of my great favorite singers when we talk about soul and disco and pop, had an early career as a jazz singer. Well, she was a jazz singer from the beginning, Freda Payne. And she, I'm going to show you her second album, even though many people think it's a bit of a later album, but it is Freda Payne in Stockholm from 1965. And this was an issue that was recorded in Stockholm or in Sweden for a Swedish market, with Swedish arrangements and Swedish musicians on side A, and on side B we have the Don Gardner Quintet with D.D. Ford on the organ, and this was reissued some years later when she had her big breakthrough on Invictus. I think it was reissued in 1971 with a sleeve. It used the same photo, but it had like a black frame. But this is the original first pressing, Frida Payne in Stockholm. I managed to get hold of a recent reissue of one of these albums that were originally issued on vinyl. The Norwegian record label Spinner Records have been reissuing lots of albums with one of my favorite singer-songwriters from Norway, Øystein Sunde, and this is one of them. Nå begjæret nådd, original from 1999. And if you haven't heard about Øystein Sunde, he mixed like country music, folk music, and bluegrass music with a Norwegian folk music, and well, big sense of comedy, lots of humor, and well, like them. And the final record today is one of my favorite. Oh, I already showed it. It's one of my favorite groups in the 90s. Of course, especially from the late 90s, it's difficult to find that music on vinyl, but their album from 2000, their last really good album, I think, Beautiful South, I'm talking about the Beautiful South, Painting It Red, has just been issued on vinyl, on a double album, and it looks like this. I don't think, I may be wrong, but it must have been in a very small quantity. I don't think it was issued on vinyl back then. And it's great, it's been remastered, and it sounds wonderfully, and I hope that all the other Beautiful South albums will get the same treatment. I think their first albums also have been reissued on vinyl, but you can find them on vinyl because they were available on vinyl back then. But like, I would like to have Quench on vinyl, and Blue is the Color, and Meow. I know they were actually available on vinyl back then in the 90s, but today they are, for me, they are impossible to find. I've been looking for them actively. Well, that's it. That's what I've been listening to lately, and I hope you enjoy yourself. Well, whatever weather you have here it is rather hot. So, nice to cool yourself with some really great music. Bye for now.